I was standing alone in a locked cemetery at night. My hand was shaking on a chain that hadn't moved in decades, and 50 feet away from me, leaning against a tombstone, was a woman who absolutely should not have been there. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe, and when I asked for help afterward, they laughed. But years later, they stopped laughing. Before we get into the story, let me ask you something. Have you ever experienced something so real, so terrifying, that you knew it happened, but the moment you tried to explain it, people looked at you like you'd lost your mind? If that sounds familiar, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in. Because tonight's story isn't just about something paranormal. It's about being dismissed, underestimated, and quietly proven right. When I first started my career in law enforcement, I was the definition of expendable. New badge, new uniform, no seniority, which meant I got the shifts no one else wanted, including evenings in the worst parts of town. One of my regular duties was locking up the city cemetery. This wasn't just any cemetery. It was one of the oldest in the area. Hundreds of graves, cracked headstones, twisted iron gates that screamed when they moved. And it sat in a neighborhood most people avoided even during daylight. Other officers joked about it. Hope the ghosts don't grab you tonight. Say hi to the lady in white. I laughed along, because that's what you do when you're new. Inside, though, something about that place felt wrong. The air was heavier, quieter than it should have been, like the city itself stopped breathing once the sun went down. That night started like every other. I pulled up to the first of the 3 massive gates, engine idling. Routine, muscle memory. Before stepping out, I flipped on my alley light and swept the grounds with my spotlight. Left to right, between the graves, behind the trees, nothing. Satisfied, I stepped out and walked toward the gate, chain clanking softly as I lifted it. That's when I forgot the combination. Typical. I muttered under my breath, fingers cold as I tried to remember the sequence. And then, I felt it, that unmistakable sensation of being watched. Not imagined, not nerves, that deep, instinctual pull that makes your spine stiffen before your brain catches up. I looked up and froze. About 50 feet away, harshly leaning against a tombstone, stood a woman. She hadn't been there seconds ago. Her clothes were wrong, not torn, not dirty, outdated, like something from another era. Her face was blank, not angry, not sad, empty. And there was something else, something I still struggle to describe. She didn't look solid. The edges of her form felt thin, uncertain, like fog trying to remember how to be human. I called out, "Ma'am." Nothing. No reaction. No movement. Every instinct told me to get back in the car. But duty took over. I tried to stay calm, tried to sound authoritative. "Ma'am, the cemetery is closed. I need you to come over here." Still nothing. The silence pressed in on my ears. I turned back to the gate, hands trembling as I struggled with the chain. Metal scraping, heart pounding, and when I finally shoved the gate open, she was gone. No footsteps, no movement, just empty space where she had been standing. I didn't wait. I radioed a close friend from another district, someone I trusted. "Can you come check something out with me?" When he arrived, we searched everything. Every row, every headstone, every shadow, nothing. And I said what I thought would sound reasonable. "I thought I saw someone." He raised an eyebrow. I laughed it off. Probably nerves. Long shift. Because the truth felt dangerous. Because admitting what I really saw meant risking something worse than fear. Ridicule. Here's what people don't talk about. In law enforcement, credibility is everything. You get one reputation, and once it cracks, good luck fixing it. So I stayed quiet. I let the jokes slide. Let the comments roll. But inside, something changed. Every time I drove past that cemetery, my chest tightened. Every time someone joked about ghosts, my jaw clenched. Because I knew, and knowing something everyone else refuses to believe, that's a special kind of isolation. Years passed. I gained experience, respect, rank, and one night, during a casual conversation, the topic came up again. I told the story, this time without laughing, and the room went silent. Another officer spoke. "Wait, by the north gate?" My stomach dropped. Another added, quietly, "She was leaning against a tombstone, wasn't she?" That was the moment. The moment the power shifted. I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy. And suddenly, the people who once joked weren't smiling anymore. That's when I made a decision. If we were all seeing things we were afraid to talk about, then silence was the real enemy. I started policing the shadows, a place where first responders could speak freely. No mockery, no dismissal. And the stories flooded in. Same woman, same cemetery, same details. Validation doesn't scream, it settles. And when it did, something incredible happened. The same people who once doubted me started listening. The real revenge wasn't exposing anyone. It was watching disbelief turn into respect, watching the narrative flip, seeing the same skeptics lower their voices when they spoke. Because the truth doesn't need to yell. It waits, and when it arrives, it brings receipts. Some injustices aren't loud. They're quiet, dismissive, eroding. But justice doesn't always look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like being proven right. The story stuck with you. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more real stories that live in the shadows between belief and doubt. And tell me in the comments, what's something you experienced that no one believed until they had no choice? Because those stories, they matter most.